What's the most pressing thing today is the San Francisco 49ers. Another week, another show where I talk San Francisco 49er football and Brock Purdy. Now let's go in chronological order here when it comes to talking about this team. I said in the beginning of the year that there's no way that the San Francisco 49ers are going to be as good as they were the previous year. I was one of those people that said, listen, guys, they're going to take a step back. That doesn't mean that they're going to miss the playoffs. But of course, 49ers fanboys talking. They were in my mentions for the first 5 weeks. Oh, 5-0, you should delete this. Everyone can have a podcast. Oh, look at me. I'm some 49er fanboy who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. In my mentions all week for 5 weeks. It was just, oh, this is going to age poorly. It got 300,000 views, and it's still counting. Now, I didn't say the Niners were going to be awful. Just stupid. I didn't say the Niners weren't going to be a good team. Again, just stupid. What I did say is they're probably going to take a step back this year. And what do you know? Old Ben was right. And it doesn't matter how many times I'm right, you will still argue with me. We've seen it now, right? I said, listen, the San Francisco 49ers have a ton of good things around them. George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, you've heard the story on and on again. I'm not going to continuously talk about the weapons. But the one thing I harped on was, first off, this team needs to win this year. Because, and as a bunch of San Francisco 49ers fans don't do enough research here, they are due to pay a bunch of players in the coming years. People took that as, you're so dumb. You don't know what you're talking about, man. All those guys are already signed. Yes, well aware that all those guys are signed. I said due to pay, not that they need a new contract. So you're going to be due to pay Javon Hargrave, Christian McCaffrey, all these guys, Deebo Samuel, they are all on the payroll. And guess what? That can that you keep on kicking down the road is going to come due. That bill is going to come due. And that also took me to Brock Purdy. I didn't slander Brock Purdy. I never said Brock Purdy was bad. Brock Purdy is not a bad quarterback because he can't be. He is awesome for what he's asked to be. He was the last pick in the draft. He's had a slew of talent around him, and he's had Kyle Shanahan around him to help him direct where to go. Brock Purdy's just good. He's not awesome. He's just good. There's nothing wrong with being good. Brock Purdy is a good quarterback, but he can't carry you. There's no way, there has been no evidence to show that Brock Purdy can carry you. We saw in the Minnesota Vikings game, outdueled by Kirk Cousins. We saw against the Cleveland Browns. He lost that game. Make no mistake about it. Stop putting things on a third-round kicker. Blame the quarterback. And then we saw last week against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They lost. 3-game losing streak. The 49ers are not as good as you think. Let me say that again. The 49ers are not as good as you think. The defense isn't as good as it was last year. Again, like I said, it's so funny to me how 49er fans think they can just plug and play any coach and they're going to be awesome. No, you got lucky. Robert Saleh was a good defensive coordinator and DeMeco Ryans was a good defensive coordinator. You lost both. Those guys are gone. And now you have Steve Wilks. And newsflash, Steve Wilks was fired. He's not very good at his job. He's not a very good defensive coordinator. The defense has taken a step back. And that's everything that I've been saying. I said, listen, the 49ers are still good, but they're going to take a step back. I don't think they're going to make the NFC Championship game. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks won the division. I picked the Seahawks to win the division. Oh, and through 8 weeks, have you checked? The Seahawks lead the division because the Seahawks have the better quarterback. The Seahawks relatively close to the same weapons. They're well coached. Good defense. Little bit of an easier schedule. The Seahawks right now, I think they'd beat the 49ers. People will say I'm crazy. Did you think the Browns and the Vikings were going to beat the 49ers? No, I don't think so. So through 8 weeks, I've been proved 100% correct. And San Francisco 49er fanboys are nowhere to be found. That brings me to my next point. The 49ers' problem is not their pass rush. Yes, it seems like Nick Bosa, maybe not as great as we thought, but they've allocated more than enough resources to the pass rush. Javon Hargrave is there. They've spent first-round picks on that defensive line. Nick Bosa is there. That defensive line is loaded with star-studded products on that line. So what do the San Francisco 49ers do? No, don't go get help with the defensive backs. Travarius Ward's fine. He's not amazing. The safeties are okay. Hufunga's good. They need secondary help. Those guys are getting torched. And what'd they do? They allocated resources to Chase Young. Chase Young, you Madden fanboys, you San Francisco 49er fanboys, casuals of the NFL, Chase Young's not that good. He's fine. Chase Young is fine. He's a productive pass rusher. But there's a reason why he went for a third-round pick, guys. The Commanders didn't just forget to call other teams. Use your brain. That's all they could get for Chase Young, a third-round pick. If he was that awesome, he's a young, premier pass rusher in your mind, right? Then he should have went for more than a third-round pick. It's the Isaiah Simmons thing. Just because Isaiah Simmons is a really good Madden player doesn't mean he's very good. The Cardinals didn't forget to call other teams. He went for a 7th-round pick for a reason, and Isaiah Simmons sucks. He hasn't been good. Chase Young, he's fine. Chase Young's fine. He's not a premier pass rusher, though. There's a reason why he went for a third-round pick. Chase Young is not solving your problems. Your pass rush is fine. Fix the secondary. Fix some of the other problems on the Niners. You have a coaching problem. The corners are not great. San Francisco 49ers are just not as good as you think they are. I said it at the beginning of the year. I've said it before. Brock Purdy, he's fine. Brock Purdy's fine. He can't carry you. Brock Purdy cannot carry you. And people in my mentions were saying, well, if you take Travis Kelce away from Patrick Mahomes, what is he? Did you miss the point? Brock Purdy has like 6 Pro Bowlers on his offense. Trent Williams, CMC, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk is an awesome number 2 receiver. George Kittle. What does Patrick Mahomes have? He's got Travis Kelce. And he won a Super Bowl with Travis Kelce and Juju Smith-Schuster, who everyone makes fun of. Brock Purdy, when you take away Deebo Samuel, maybe a George Kittle for a game, and he just has 1 or 2 Pro Bowlers, he's not that great. He's fine. He's mystery relevant for a reason. The San Francisco 49ers have problems. Chase Young is not going to solve that, and Brock Purdy is not as good as you San Francisco 49er fanboys thought, no matter what you try to say in my comments. You can say whatever you want. You can believe whatever you want. I've always been honest with my viewers. I've always been honest with my listeners. Brock Purdy, he's fine. He doesn't suck. He's not a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. I can't come after Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy doesn't make a dime more than anyone else that watches this show. He doesn't make that much money. Brock Purdy does not suck up the salary cap. He's been awesome for what he's asked to be. He can't carry you. Chase Young is not going to save you. The 49ers have serious problems, and whether 49er fans want to acknowledge it or not is their problem. And the San Francisco 49ers right now will not make it back to the NFC Championship game like they did last year. Like I said, they would take a step back. And now 49ers fans, I hear crickets in my mentions because it's been 3 straight weeks and you haven't showed up for 3 straight weeks. You have serious problems. Chase Young is not going to fix it. Brock Purdy is just a fine quarterback. He is not going to carry you. And whether you want to acknowledge it or not, the San Francisco 49ers have real problems, and they are going to linger until someone points them out and they fix them.